Kishane Thompson did it. He edged out Noah Lyles in their first rematch since the Paris Olympic 100 final, winning in a time of 9.87 seconds to Lyles' 9.90 seconds at the Silesia Diamond League. Good morning and welcome, my good friend Leighton Levy. How are you doing today, my brother?
Hi, Richard. Good morning to you and your listeners. I'm not doing too badly at all. Of course, just a few days out of, I wouldn't say unemployment because I'm actually doing my own YouTube channel now. But,
Yes.
As you know, Sportsmax would have wound down on August 8th.
Yes.
So, about 90 of us are looking for, optional employment, I suppose. I'm not quite sure. But, the thing about it is I'm good. I'm actually happy and quite content.
All right. I'm glad to hear that, bro. And I hope that everything will go well. We know that you're a highly respected journalist, and I suspect that they'll come knocking very, very soon.
We'll keep our fingers crossed.
Yes, most definitely, Leighton. Best wishes. It came as a surprise to so many of us when we heard about the closing down of Sportsmax. But as I said, I hope that something really satisfactory will pop up very, very soon. You never can tell, all right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. Now, I want you to help me to break down this victory of Thompson over Lyles recently. It is a win that we are savoring, and no doubt he is also, Kishane Thompson, that is. How did you see the race?
I think the race unfolded the way in which many people expected. Like myself, there were a couple of other pundits who were concerned whether or not we would see a replication of what happened in Paris last year. Primarily because there is a greater weakness that is, an area of Kishane's race that is of concern. So to those who follow the sport closely, who understand how the mechanics and the logistics of the race works. Let me just indulge me for a second. Let me just explain what happened.
Yeah.
When you run 100, you get to your maximum speed at about 60 or 65 meters, depending on your talent level. You can use to accelerate well beyond 60.
Mm-hmm.
But it then becomes the person who slows down the slowest who wins. The person who slows down the fastest loses. So what we're seeing with Kishane, and we saw that at the Olympics last year, we've seen it all season, including the race on Saturday in Silesia, where Kishane will have a lead, but his speed maintenance is a significant challenge, and it will be exploited by superior sprinters like Noah Lyles or Oblique Seville or Kenny Bednarek. If he does not improve that going into the World Championships, which begins in just under a month's time from now. So what we saw on Saturday is that Kishane had a sizable lead at 60.
Mm-hmm.
And then the field, not just Noah Lyles, the field closed on him significantly. 9.87 to 9.90 is 0.03 seconds. If you remember, Noah Lyles won by 0.005 seconds in Paris last year. So that's something that Kishane is going to have to work on, and Stephen Francis are going to have to work on over the next. But I suspect they've already been working on it, but we're not seeing the results of it yet. The other thing that we have to take into consideration is the fact that all of the MVP athletes arrived in Poland late because of a delayed flight on Friday, I think it was. They were supposed to arrive earlier, but pretty much they just arrived a few hours before the meet. I think they're traveling from Italy or somewhere in Europe. I'm not quite sure where the camp is this year.
Mm-hmm.
But so there would be a certain level of fatigue that would have been at play there. And it all goes well for the Clayton twins, who ran really well, as well as Sherika Jackson, who were also on that same flight, based on my information. So there's a fatigue factor to consider as well as the rate of speed decay of Kishane Thompson's race, which Noah Lyles planned to exploit, because Noah Lyles, this was his only second 100 of the season. He had an injury earlier this season. He ran a 400 and he hurt his ankle and he was out for several weeks. So his preparation is not where he would like it to be in terms of his race sharpness, because the conventional wisdom is that you need about 5 to 7 races under your belt going into a major championship to get that race sharpness in your legs.
Mm-hmm.
So right now, you have to remain a little bit concerned about Kishane's execution. But if he can have a fresh look, and there's also the factor as well as the fact that they would not have been tapered yet, meaning that when you're preparing for major championships, most programs, training programs for athletes, are designed for them to get faster as they're near competition, the major competition. So the workload that would have been in Kishane's legs this week would probably have been significant.
Mm-hmm.
But because of taper, which means that they start to unload the athlete, meaning that the workload becomes less and less as you sharpen up for the championships. That's not going to begin for another 2 weeks. It's about 7 to 10 days before major championship that unloading begins. So there are several factors to consider.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that he was able to win here should build his confidence a little bit and give him some kind of parity in terms of his mental preparation going into another major clash with the man who, well, he was favored to win in Paris, and the man who upset him to win in Paris, who is getting closer because even though he's behind in terms of his preparation.
Mm-hmm.
So there are a lot of factors to consider.
Yeah.
When you look at overall, you have to think that if Kishane is fresh and is able to relax over those last 30 meters of his race, he should win or he should get the better of Lyles. I'm not saying he'll win, because I think there's somebody else who I'm thinking about who could possibly win it all.
Yes.
Simbina? I'm thinking Oblique Seville. Look at Oblique has been unfortunate these last 3 major championships with either injury or something that has affected his ability to perform in the finals. Last year at the Olympics, he picked up a groin strain mid-race and prevented him from really accelerating the way he wanted to, and he ended up finishing at the back of the pack in a very good 9:91. I mean, given how easily he ran 9:8 in the semifinals. But going back to the initial conversation, if Kishane can learn to relax, because it's easy to get tense late in races, which slows your speed significantly. One, because your body tightens up, your lactic acid builds up very quickly, and your stride length shortens, and you're reaching for the line. And we've seen that about 3 or 2 so times so far this year from Kishane Thompson. If you realize now that there's a lot more fluid driving through the line because these are able to relax those last 30 meters. I'll give you an example. If you remember, those of you remember that race between Usain Bolt and Justin Gatlin back in 2015, when Justin Gatlin ran 9:74 in the semifinals and in the finals was leading Bolt comfortably, but then started to stretch for the line the last 20 meters and lost the race on the line. That is an example of how getting tight and reaching for the line prevents you from winning. So that's something that Kishane needs to work on. I'm hoping he'll be able to get that sorted out. It's easier said than done, to be honest, because when I ran track, I actually learned that by mistake in a race where I actually gave up because I just coming off a knee injury, and literally just stopped trying, so to speak, and eventually found myself moving through the field until I eventually won. So it's something that you have to condition your mind to accept, that when you get to 75 meters, relax your body, but still apply force, and you'll maintain speed as long as possible. So that's something that Kishane has to work on.
It sounds like
if he's going to be successful.
Yeah, it sounds like both the physical and the psychological have got to work in tandem.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
you have to trust. He said it after the Olympics last year. He has to trust his own speed. If he does that, he will know that once he relaxes, his speed will not fall away and he will not be caught.
Yeah.
So once he learns that, he just has to accept that fact, that when you get to 60, your maximum speed is achieved. From there on, it's about maintaining your speed for as long as you can before you get to the line.
Yeah. Do you think he's in the kind of form that could possibly, maybe with good preparation, challenge the world record in the 100-meter event? And what would it take for him to achieve this feat?
Challenging the world record is some ways away. Kishane's best time is 9.75, which is 0.17 seconds off of Usain Bolt's 9.58. He's a long way off. But I think right now he can probably get closer to Johan Blake's 9.69. I think if he learns to relax, as I mentioned before, and he learns to trust his speed and work on ensuring that his speed maintenance remains, his speed maintenance improves, I think he can get to 9.6. I think he can get to 9.69 or 9.68 right now. But he needs to learn to that element, that last phase of his race needs to improve significantly for him to get there, because it might look like only fractions of a second to the average observer, but in real terms, those fractions of a second take a lot of work, a lot of practice, and a lot of execution in terms of pressure conditions. Because you can probably do it in training, but once you add what some coaches call the adrenaline factor, meaning that you're in a race that has stakes involved. So you're up against athletes who are looking to beat you, not in training where it doesn't matter whether you go across the line first or second or third, as long as you execute well. Once you add that adrenaline factor in competition is where you need to execute those things. And if he's able to do that, I think he'll be a 9.6 athlete very soon. Wow. But it takes a lot of work, and it takes a lot of trust in himself and in the program and the process that he's because there's no doubt that he's in great shape. We saw that at the national championship, 9.75, which is the fastest time in the world since Usain Bolt's era. And I think it's the sixth fastest time in history. So you're looking at somebody who is capable of going a lot faster. What he needs to do then is trust the process and trust his training and trust himself. And I think he'll be fine. Yeah.
To the best of your knowledge, are they meeting again, himself and Lyles, before the World Champs?
I'm not sure I know he's going to run in Lausanne this weekend, next week, Wednesday, the 20th. But I'm not sure if they will show up. I think, depending on what Stephen Francis sees, he might want him to work on a different phase of his race. So I'm not sure. But I think he's been penciled in for about two additional races before they go into the World Championships in Tokyo. So maybe the way Stephen Francis functions is that he allows his athletes to work on different phases of their races in competition. Because that's when you learn the most about what he or she is capable of. Yes. So we might see him again. It all depends on what the coaching team decides. So we could see him in a couple more races before the World Championship, or we might not. It all depends on what they're looking at and what they think that he needs to work on in competition that will allow him to be at his best when he gets to Tokyo.
And finally this morning, Leighton, do you hold a lot of confidence in terms of the ability of his handlers to get him to that stage where he can, fairly easily do the 9.6 that you think he's capable of?
Running 9.6 is never easy, but man, still, Stephen Francis is the MVP. Is blessed with two of the best coaches in the world, not just the region, the world. And they understand body mechanics and dynamics better than most. And I think what they would have been doing since the Olympics last year is preparing Kishane for the next big event, which is the World Championship coming up in less than a month's time. So physically, he's ready. There is no doubt that he's ready physically. What he needs to then apply now, or what needs to be applied now, is as you mentioned a while ago, the mental side of things, where he's able to, trust the process, as I keep saying, and go into competition knowing that this is what you need to do to win, and doing it. Because when you're under pressure, sometimes in a race, you forget the things that you are trained to do, and then resort to things that you're instinctivly prone to do. So yeah, but in terms of his preparation, I have no doubt that he's prepared physically. I have no doubt that he's ready to run fast once he allows himself to run fast. So I think it all comes down to what Kishane Thompson is willing to do when he enters competition. But in terms of his preparedness, I think he's physically ready as he could be. Because if he runs 9.75 in Tokyo, I think he wins. The thing is, will he do it when he's not under the threat of two or three big names running up on him late in the races? So, and the other element of it is that because Lyles is a 200-meter man, he's able to hold his feet for a lot longer because of that additional speed and strength endurance that he has. So there are a lot of factors to consider, but I'm confident that if Kishane just trusts himself, he will deliver. Unless Oblique Seville has another mishap in the final, because I'm thinking that it's quite possible that Oblique Seville is going to run somewhere in that 9.6 range. Again, I said it last year, and it didn't happen, but I'm still very confident about. If you look at the race that he ran in London, for example, Oblique Seville, that is, and watch the different phases of his race, his drive to transition to acceleration to speed maintenance. He held off, even though that was Lyles' first race for the season. He held off Lyles. In fact, it appears as if he even opened the gap on Lyles in that last 30 meters of the race. So, once Glenn Mills lets him go, meaning that it completely unloads him for the championships, and he's not having any physical challenges like he's had for the past few years, he could possibly win as well. So there's a strong possibility that Jamaica could get 1-2 in Tokyo once everything goes according to the plan, and there are no unseed mishaps that arise. I think Jamaica stands to do very well again, but again, it's about the execution. It's about getting the job done. It's not about what we think can happen.
Right.
It's about the athletes going out there and delivering what they're capable of delivering.
On the day, Leighton, I want to thank you very much. That's the kind of commentary and analysis that you can get only from Leighton Levy. And you heard him mention at the start that Sportsmax is no more. So if you want to find him, I can help you to reach him. All right. And I want to thank you once again, Leighton.
If I can just say, Richie, my YouTube channel is called Mr. Analyst, MISSA. ANALYST, and it's on YouTube. We just put up a new video last night.
Okay.
And we've been doing pretty well. I mean, we always can use some additional subscribers. So please go ahead and subscribe if you can or if you desire.
Mr. Analyst, right?
Yep.
All right.
So it's at MISSA. ANALYST.
We got you, Leighton. I'm going to be your next subscribe in a matter of seconds. Thank you so very much, and you have a great day, bro. Always a pleasure.
All right, take it easy, Richard. Thanks again, and good morning again to your listeners.